Okay, welcome to the Divergent Voices podcast. I am recording here in Ghana. I am recording from my living room here. And this is just part of the journey. A couple of years ago, about 2 years, I think about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I retired from teaching and decided, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, but my path has led me to Ghana. And so this is the first podcast we're making out of Ghana. And I came to Ghana for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think it's, I came to visit here and I love the country. I love the country, I love the people, I love everything about it. I like the food. I just felt really comfortable here. So we decided we were going to make the move. I came here and I stayed in an Airbnb not too far away from here, just a couple of doors down. And at the Airbnb, I met a really super nice guy. The guy that was there, his name's James. And I walked on these beaches, these beautiful beaches that are here. And I just loved it. I just kind of fell in love with it. So as I was going through it, I came across this building. It was an abandoned building. And a couple of times I walked past it, but I was very intrigued by it. And anyway, one day I decided, well, I'll just ask James about what the building was all about. And so he found out from all of his sources and what the building was all about and who was building it and the whole story behind it. And so anyway, the long and short of it is it was a Scandinavian guy that was building it with his wife. His wife is Ghanaian, and this is going to be their retirement home. And when they started building it, he had cancer, and unfortunately, it took his life. So his wife couldn't finish the building or anything like that. So we struck up a deal, and long and short of it, I bought an abandoned building, and at that point, started looking for somebody to actually. I looked for contractors and everything else, and finally I found a really good contractor, Sobel Engineering. They gave me the designs and everything else for the building, and then the rest of it is history. The house is completed. Well, I would say almost completed. We still have a few things here and there to fix. But it's great. I would never have been able to do this without two people I met here in Ghana. One is Alex, and one is James. They were my two real confidants, real trustworthy guys. Really understood the area and everything else, and they helped me put the deal together. So I'm forever in gratitude to those two guys. And then I came across the person that actually built the building, okay? Because remember, this is a tropical building, so I'm not really familiar with tropical buildings. So Sobel brought on board the foreman, the project manager for the project, and he basically ran the whole thing, okay, from beginning to end. There were questions that I did not even know. Sometimes it's like, okay, let's build it this way. And they're like, I don't think you really want to build it that way. You probably want to do, because of the differences in the way in their building structures and so on. So it really came down to the fact that Prince was a very big part of the building. So to begin my podcast, I thought, okay, I'll get him on here and he can tell us everything about the building, all right? So today, for this particular podcast, I'm going to be talking to Prince Salome Akoto. I believe I got that right.
Yes, that's it.
All right. And Prince is, I would say, the person that designed this. The colors you see, the building structure, and everything else was this guy. Okay. I personally, wow. I was blown away when I saw what he was doing. They showed me the drawings at the very beginning of what they are going to be able to do with the house. I was a little bit skeptical because the drawings looked so good. But I have to say that the building itself ended up being better than the drawings even, okay? I was very pleased with the work that they've done. So I thought, okay, let me talk to him a little bit, and you guys can get to know him a little bit about what they did. So just a little bit about him before I hand it over to him. I know that he's married to a wonderful woman, right?
Yep.
Name is Charity. I have met her. And she's a seamstress, does amazing designs. And what you're seeing right now is that one of the designs she made for me. Awesome. Makes me look better than I am. All right. And I know he has 2 wonderful children, which I'll let him introduce them. All right. And he has done a number of different things. He's just a general contractor, does everything from plumbing to carpentry to waterproofing. He knows everything about everything, all right? He's been doing it for about 8 years. So, Prince.
Yes.
First of all, tell us a little bit about your family, and then tell us about your business.
All right. I'm Prince Salom Akoto, as you just mentioned. I'm married to Charity, and I have 2 girls, Dejoy and then Anastasia. We are a loving family together, and then we are running our own business. For my business, it's general construction, as you have just stated. We do general construction, civil works, right from carpentry, plumbing, and then etc. Everything construction from the start to finish. So as you've just mentioned, that is how it is.
Okay, so tell me about the building, because you built this building. You remember when we first walked in?
Yeah.
You remember what it looked like? Okay. What did you think? What was your first thought when you first looked at that building?
Okay, it all started like this. As my boss, Sobel Engineering Company, the CEO himself got me contacted, and I came to the site. The first thing I saw was, who started this? Because having this whole mansion started well and not fully completed and abandoned for like almost 7 years from the history that I heard. Yes, so I thought as much that I have to look at it and then do it much better than as it is, and then for it to last longer. So there were some particular measures that I took. The first side was at the beach side, which I proposed a sea defense, and then the other one was looking at the building itself to have it reformed to a better state. So I would say from the sea defense, there were some other measures that I took. That is what I always say from the beginning, that waterproofing. Waterproofing should be considered because it's at the beach side. When you are building at the beach side, because the beach itself is salty, yes, so it can get contacted when you don't prevent the building from going bad, because already the building is by the beach side and it's sitting right in the salt.
Right. Okay, so let's. I know a lot of people are seeing this right now, and you can see the beach right behind us. I mean, it's almost like I get a lot of questions. Well, aren't you afraid it's going to wash away? Aren't you afraid something is going to happen? What do you say to people like that? I mean, are we crazy for building so close to the ocean like this?
No, it's not. It's never bad, because even people don't even build in the sea itself. There are so many products in town that you can get to do with, which the building can even stay longer in the sea. So having this here is not anything to be panicked of or to be afraid of, for it going bad or maybe breaking down or collapsing. No, it's one of the best ideas, and then maybe measures you will take. And then if you are putting those measures in place, you need to put the correct measures, like putting a method to prevent it from wearing off.
So you're saying we shouldn't be afraid because the sea is right here and everything else. So the walls we are actually seeing are not your typical walls. They are treated walls.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Everything that is here is treated because, again, we're so close to the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean is like right here. And the salt factor has to be factored into the building process itself. Okay? So now, what are some of the challenges you faced when you were working with trying to build this building?
Okay. I'll say it have to do with the sea. And it all comes to settle at the sea defense. When the front yard of the building was about constructing, you can plan digging maybe 2 feet hole for the concrete works to be done. Maybe you go to where you are mixing the concrete to come fill the hole. Before you get here, the water wash it away and then fill the hole. Mm-hmm. And then we are looking at putting rods, iron rod attached to the clay for it to be strong enough to hold down the building. After putting these steel works together, you are bringing it to the seaside. You know, the sea is full of salt. It gets attracted to the rod and start wearing it off. Mm-hmm. So I also consider putting anti-rust, chemical, and other things. Those were the challenges because you make time to work, maybe 3 days, you have to complete it. Mm-hmm. By the time you put up your plans and then you get to the seaside, it is never like that because the timing will be different. The sea will always want to take off everything as you plan doing it well. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So basically, what you're saying is, this is not a conventional building.
Yes.
And when you're building close to the ocean like we are, okay, there are things that need to be considered that are different than if you were building it on a regular piece of land, right? So all of those things need to be. How did you learn all these things?
Oh, it's by process. Myself, I've been online always. Whenever I get contact with new jobs or maybe challenging jobs like this, mm-hmm. I read on them. I read on how to go about it. And myself, it is something I love to do. It is part of me. Construction is part of me. I sleep, eat, and then discuss construction.
And he means that literally because they actually slept here. The workers that were working here, they actually slept here and stayed here, sleeping on the hard floors so that they could wake up the next morning and do the job. So literally, you were saying you lived the job.
Yes.
During that particular period when it's here.
Yes.
How long did it take you to complete this building? Do you remember, when did we start? We started this building...
Apparently we started in July.
In July,
mm-hmm.
Okay, and we've completed it. Now today is January 20-something, okay, yes. 21st or something.
25th.
Okay, 25th. But I actually came to Ghana, that was when it was completed on the 27th.
On the 7th.
On the 7th of January.
Yes.
Okay. So really, in a period of 4 or 5 months.
Yes, 5 months.
We were able to do this. And the only way they could accomplish this is by actually having the workers literally sleeping here.
On the site.
Okay? And I asked them about that, okay? Because us sometimes in the West, we look at it and we say, you shouldn't do that to your workers. Why did you decide to have your workers do that?
Yes, thank you. For the love of the job. For the love of the job that we have here, we love to sacrifice more, and then we are in a timely manner. We want to finish on time. So one thing we always cherish here is when you are being given a job, and then not looking at the money aspect, but looking at you going to do another job, mm-hmm. you have to get this one done fast so that you move to another one. And then if you come to the money side too, you get more money as you do more job.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's important to complete jobs
early.
Yes. And
save more money.
That way you can move on to other jobs.
Other ones, yes.
Okay. Because a lot of these workers, they depend on it. What do you say to people that say, okay, I'll use myself for an example. I'm coming from the West. I'm coming with this money, and I'm coming here and I'm exploiting the workers by making them work overnight. What do you say to that?
No, it's never true. It is always good when you have what you want and then you work for it. If you work for it and you earn it, it's better than you sitting down doing nothing and you don't earn anything at all. You getting what we want and then we are satisfied and we want to work all the time is the issue.
Okay.
Yes.
So basically satisfaction.
Yes.
So, you know, if I come in and I pay the workers well,
Yes.
Okay.
We can work for you.
and they're happy with it, they will do the work.
All day, all night.
Okay. But the problem, I think I'm speaking to those people that are talking about exploitation and everything else. My wife and I, we have been very concerned about making sure that we don't exploit labor, and we don't exploit people. We were willing to pay what we deserve. Now we're like anybody else. Of course, we want to pay the least possible, right? Because that's kind of human nature.
Yes.
But I think the human element, and this is what I would say to people that are trying to come back to Africa, okay, is, you know what, create the jobs, but create it at a fair rate, okay, not an exploitive rate, which has happened a lot in Africa in the past, okay. So would you recommend somebody from America or from the UK to do what I just did?
Yes, I will. No, I won't. Yes, because you need to know where you are coming, and then you need to get the right people from the onset, from the beginning. You mentioned 2 good people that you met that convinced you to get here, and then they assisted you in so many ways. If that person will get that kind of people, why not? But no, because you get in, maybe the person is not the right person, and maybe start to dupe you or start to lie to you. That's why when you are getting intermediaries, you should get trusted people, like your 2 good people, James and Alice. They are good. You trusted them enough, and everything flows. And then from them to my boss, and then to me, everything is going on. And today, glory be to God, we can see it here live and colored.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would, and just I'll ask myself the same question. Would I recommend this to you? No. What I did was absolutely crazy. Okay, it was crazy. It was risky, but it was. Now I look back at it, it is crazy. But I felt comfortable enough. Okay, I felt comfortable enough that I knew the right 2 people that were going to direct me, and I managed to find the right people to actually build the building. So I consider myself extremely fortunate. I have heard of horror stories left and right about people that come in and they lose, and somebody sells them a piece of land, and this land has been sold to 10 different people, and so now there's a dispute, and so on and so forth, and everything else. But I was very fortunate. James, Alex, and Prince over here did their due diligence. We did everything. We checked, make sure that the property was right, and make sure that everything that the people were telling us was for real. Okay, so that's something that really needs to be considered. So those of you that are thinking in diaspora, you're thinking about coming back, those are some things you really need to think about. You really need to consider. All right, there are people like that. I have found nothing but honest people since I've been here. But I know that there are those that are not so honest. And, you know, I don't want anybody to ever say, oh, well, I watched this podcast and Paul said it was easy. No, it's not easy, all right? But you just have to make sure you have the right people in place. So, is there anything else you would recommend to people that are thinking about building in Ghana?
All right, so I would say, when you're about getting something to do here in Ghana, maybe putting up a building, the first thing you have to consider is getting your land. And then wherever place you are buying your land, you have to do due diligence, investigation, like asking of the site plan, going to the lands to check whether that name on the site plan is the right person you are going for before you buy it. And after buying, you need to decide whatever you are putting on your land. And then when you want to start construction, one thing you should consider here in Ghana is you should obtain your permit, your building permit. is one of the utmost important things that you have to get first. Once you get your building permit, you are free to do your building. And then your building construction should be in phases. The first phases have to do with the foundation period. The second one should be the block work to the roofing side. And then the third one should be maybe the plastering and the finishing states. It should always be in phases. Don't leave the 100% amount of money to your contractor or whoever to start building for you. Thank you.
Good. So in closing, really, are you glad the job is over?
Yes, I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad because it's a blessing to some of us to have this thing done in our name, and then maybe our name written on it. Whenever they walk through and they see who does this, they say, Prince. I am a bit. I am happy, fully happy, not a bit. I'm happy that.
So this is a monument to you, basically.
Yes. It's in my name. It's in my name. I'm very happy.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that I'm very happy with him. And if any of you are in the building process or you're thinking about building, if you're in the States and you're thinking about coming back to Ghana or anywhere in Africa, and you want more information or you want his information, for those of you guys that are Ghanaians that want to come back, I'd be more than happy to refer him to you and give you all of the information and everything else. In fact, I might put it on this video, the information, so you can have it. But for me, I've been absolutely thrilled. My wife is here. We're both very thrilled with the house, with the process that has gone through. It has been relatively painless. No building is without some pain, but the pains that we've had here are very, very minimal compared to what it could be. And we are very, very glad and very fortunate to be here. So Prince, thank you very much.
Thank you too
for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And we look forward to talking to you more. This is not the last time we'll talk to him, but
all right.
There are some other people we look to talk to. This podcast, I really want to focus on telling African stories. We see this brilliant gentleman that is basically self-taught. Okay, everything he's learned about the building procedures and everything else, and he just picks it up here and there and really does it. And I see a lot of Africans that have that type of talent, but are never given the opportunity to do something that they are really super proud of. And so, that's one of the stories, some of the stories we want to tell of this podcast. There are people like that. Sometimes people think, well, why is Africa always poor, and so on and so forth. It's a total lack of opportunity. A lot of these young people, you give them an opportunity, and they will do the job. And this Prince is exactly, he's one of the key ones that I would say really demonstrates that to a T. So in the future, we'll be doing some other stories, some other cool stories. There's stories about, one of the things that bothers me about this is the trash that we have on the beaches and so on and so forth, and I refuse to think that there's no answer to that. So we'll look at those particular issues. There are all kinds of stories, people that have come to Ghana from the UK, from the US. They come in for vacation for 3 days, and now they're here for 25 years, okay? And fascinating stories, all right? So in future podcasts, I hope to cover all of that stuff, everything to do with Africa, and also just to show the true nature of what Africa is, all right? So stay tuned, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe.